Welcome back to Data to Decisions. In today's video, we will see how we can use some simple Excel formulas to compare two lists of data. For example, items that are in only one list or items in both lists, we can easily identify using Excel formulas. For example, on screen, we see two lists, and we can see that items D and G are only in list one, and then items F and I are in list two. Now, there are so many scenarios when you deal with data reporting and analysis where these techniques will come in handy. Just to illustrate a couple of scenarios, the first one I will use will be products. When customers purchase products, so let's say you have a list of customers who purchase product A, list of customers who purchase product B, and you want to find out how many customers are interested in both products. And this will come in very handy for you to make decisions around what products to develop and also how to market your products. The second scenario I will give would be in the reconciliation space, where when I used to work on projects where I'm reconciling financial data across different systems, it is extremely important to find out which transactions appear in only one system, which is causing the variance, and also which transactions or orders appear in both systems. So identifying that quickly and easily using Excel formulas is very, very easy now. So let's go and start building those formulas. So here I have a brand new worksheet with two lists of values. The first thing I would want to do is to convert this into a table. So I'm going to select this and I do Control T shortcut, which will create a table. And I've selected my table has headers. I will select it. And then I will give a name. So this is table one. And then I will do the same for second one. Select everything, Control T. Okay, give it the name of table two. Now we go to the second step, which is to create this as lists of values. So this is an optional step, but I like to do it because then the formulas are much easier to explain, much simpler to see, much shorter. I am going to select all the values in my table, and I'm going to go to formulas and define name. And then I'm going to give a name to this list of values, and we'll keep it simple. Let's just call it list. Hit OK. And then do the same for the second one. Select all the values, hit define name, and you will give the name list 2. And you will see why, how this is helpful in the later step. We are done with creating the list. Now it's time to go and start writing our formula. So we're going to start with the first one where the function I'm going to use is match. If you can type match and then say, what am I looking? Match is a function that allows you to go and find a value in another array or another list of values. So for example, here, I'm going to select this list. And if you see that when I selected all the values, it will automatically say table one, list one, because the column name is list one in the table one. And I like to keep things a little bit simpler. I know it's not a big thing, but what I'm going to do is to say list one, which is the name of the list that we created in the previous step, list one, comma, and I'm going to find that in list two, which is the list of values in the second table. And I'm going to say, I want the match to be exact. So let's see what this gives us back. So A, let's just look through this result. In the list one, we have A as the starting value. So what this function, what the formula does is goes and looks up the value A in the second list. And it says, yes, I found it in the first instance. And so next one, it goes and searches B, then it finds it there, second value in the list two. Great. When it goes to fourth row here, which is value D, it cannot find anything in the second list, so it returns an error. So now, basically what we want is the values that are only in the first list will come through with an NA or an error, not available, right? So what I'm going to do now is a simple is NA. I'll wrap this around, open parenthesis, and then close, hit enter. Now I get trues and false. So in all the previous videos, we have seen how easy or how beneficial converting these into Booleans, trues or false, and zeros and ones. And so here, now we know this is true in these spots. So whenever it is NA, which means that it is only in the first list. Now, all I need to do is to filter our original list, which is list one, comma, include. So what is the condition that we are filtering on? I want this to be true, right? So I want these values to be true and only those values I'm interested in. So I will close this. Now I get D and G. Now let's go through this and understand how this works. First thing is the match. The match gives you a number or an NA if it doesn't find a match. And now I want only the NA, so I do an ISNA function, which gives me true and false, and then I use that to filter my original list. So that's how we got the items which are only in the first list. Great. We can do the exact same thing. I'm going to copy this and put that in the second because I'm going to do find the items only in the second list. So all I have to do is to switch the ones and twos here. So I'm going to say filter list two and is NA match. How I'm going to use the match function here is find values in list two and go and search in list one. So swap that, hit enter. Now I get F and I, which are the only two things here. So let's test it. If I, for example, have instead of D, I change this to F in the first list, hit enter. So now F is in both lists, so it's not going to show up as any of these two things. I'm going to do Control Z to undo. So we have tested that it's working. We are able to now get the first one and the second. Now for the last part, we need to know which ones are appearing in both. I'm going to copy and paste the formula that we had in the first formula here, and I'll explain why. And if you remember, all the other ones where there is a match, you will return it, the function will return a number. So instead of checking for NA, if I check for number, I will get all the items that are matching. So really simple. Exactly the same logic, except instead of looking for not available, I'm looking for a number. That's it. So now with these three simple formulas, we can get a list of items only in the first, only in the second, and also in both. And if you want to test it, let's say, for example, at the end here, let's say I'm going to add at the bottom, okay, on the first list. Hit enter. You see automatically F moved from here to here. Let me undo. F is here, F is going to move over here as soon as I make it part of the table, right? So reason why we created the table in the first step is because of this dynamic nature in which the values will expand as long as you type it at the bottom of the list, it'll expand. Now, what if there are duplicates in your data? If, for example, B appears twice in this case, let's say I'm going to change this here. So now D appears twice, and you will see that it appears twice in your list. So if in your case, if you believe that your raw data, source data can have duplicates, we cannot use this formula. We have to change it a little bit, but we already learned in one of our previous videos how we can create a distinct list. So I'm going to go to this formula, wrap it around with unique function, open parenthesis, close. Now this will give us unique. Even if there are duplicates in your list, you can just wrap around with the unique function. So I'm going to do the same to all of them because we don't want the duplicates, because in this scenario, it makes a lot of sense that I want to only see the unique items which are in one or the second or both. That's it for today's video. Hope this is helpful. If in your case you have a more complex scenario, please put in your scenario details in the comment section. I'll be happy to do another video as there are more and more complex scenarios on top of this, but this is a very basic, common, simple scenario for which you can now use Excel formulas to address. I'll see you soon in another video. Thank you so much for watching.